people think they know how to braid. In fact, they probably say they could do it with their eyes closed. But almost less than 30% of Americans actually know how to 3-strand braid. Luckily, I know how to 3-strand braid. I've known for about 7 years. In 4th grade I learned, and I've been practicing ever since. It's been a building block for a lot of my hairstyles. This is important to you guys as an audience because some of you have short hair and some of you may not know how to braid. Even if you do know how to braid, a lot of these techniques you may see today will be able to be incorporated in your hairstyles. Over the next few minutes, I'll be teaching you guys how to 3-strand braid, some tips and tricks to help you braiding, and some products that really go along for a great hairstyle. Now that we know, okay, let's start by getting the hair prepared. Before we can go into any tips and tricks, we have to learn how to actually 3-strand braid. First, we need to prepare the hair by brushing it to get all of the tangles out. This helps to have a neater braid. Next, we need to separate the hair into 3 sections. A right, or a left, a middle, and a right. Once we have the 3 sections, you need to make sure and keep them separate. This will end up creating a braid itself. Once we have our 3 sections, we can start the actual braiding process. I will first be taking the left outside piece and crossing it over the middle. This is important because it actually creates the braid. By putting the left over the middle, you need to make sure and put the middle back in the left's place to replace it. Now, you can do the same thing with the opposite outside piece of hair. You cross it over the middle, and you make sure the middle goes to the outside as well. If you continue these steps, you will soon have a perfect braid. Something easy to remember is to outside over the middle, outside over the middle. This will help you continue to do the same process. Once you get to the bottom, you need to tie it off with a hairband or rubber band. This keeps it in place and makes sure that it doesn't fall out all day. Now that we know how to actually braid, it's time to go into some tips and tricks. My first tip is to use either a spray bottle of water or a hairspray to keep all the flyaways from the braid, from getting out of the braid. This also helps by making the hair more textured and easier to stay in the braid. My second tip is to brush through the hair before you start braiding. This untangles all of the pieces and really helps for a neater braid. My third thing is actually to change the look of the braid. You can put a hair tie at the top. This is good for an active lifestyle. For sports and children, it keeps the braid tighter and helps it last all day. The third tip or trick I have is once you've tied off the braid like we have, you can pull on the outside pieces to make the braid look fuller for a more effortless and messy look. As you can tell, that made the braid look way more full. Now that we have all of our tips and tricks done, it's time to start to go into some products that may help the braiding process. My first product that I love to use is a brush. Not only for braiding, but for everyday hairstyles, brushing through the hair can make the hair look very different. You could also use a comb for that process. It's your preference. The next hair products that I like to use is hairspray. As I said, it keeps the flyaways away, and it's an added benefit once you take out the braid that the waviness will stay in the braid. My last product that I like to use are these little hairbands. The little rubber hairbands that go at the end of a braid look way more discreet than a regular hairband like this and helps the braid stay in nicer. Now that we have all our tips, our tricks, and our products done, those are some things that might help you learn how to braid. Hopefully after listening to this speech, you guys all know how to braid and can help others learn how to braid. As I stated in my introduction, less than 30% of Americans know how to braid. Hopefully after this speech, more Americans know how to 3-strand braid.